Welcome to Passionate World Talk Radio. Educate, enlighten, entertain.
Welcome to Passionate World Talk Radio. Educate, enlighten, and entertain. I'm Shannon Zeman, and thank you for joining us on the most important 15 minutes of your day, where we share expert information on safety and preparedness that you can use in your everyday life. It's New Year. Yay! Thank God 2020's gone. And when we get to take our masks off, we want everyone to have a beautiful smile. So on today's podcast, Michelle Taylor joins me to discuss what you need to know before you make your first dental appointment of the year and how to keep your pearly whites clean and healthy. Michelle is an office manager at Surf City Dentist in Huntington Beach in California. She's been in the dentistry for almost 18 years and has experience in both front and back office. Michelle is committed to making smiles happen, and that's why she's here today to share her knowledge with us. So thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Just a side note, she's my best friend, so that's a nice.
It's always a plus.
It's always a good bonus. So I really think this is a great topic to bring. And when I talk about like safety or preparedness, it's not necessarily the first thing people would think, but this goes to your health and it goes to,
Absolutely.
How we take care of ourselves. And that is part of preparedness and safety, I feel. So what should we know before making our, first dental appointment of the year? What are some major points that you would say?
Very good question. So a lot of times, patients often assume that everybody in the dental field is going to know what your particular benefits are. And unfortunately, that's not the case. There are thousands of dental plans out there, and even individual companies have many, many different plans within that company. So it's your responsibility as the consumer, if you want to call yourself the consumer or the patient, to know what your true dental benefits are, because there's too many for your dental professional to research 5 minutes before your appointment.
So in saying we should know what our benefits are, what are the main things that we should be looking at?
So you want to know your annual maximums, your deductibles, and if you go to a PPO dentist, for example, what your requirements are as far as in-network or out-of-network benefits, because they're not always the same.
Oh, okay. So these are all great questions that you want to ask. And what your coverage is or what your dental office has covered in the past could change year to year, right?
Yes, that's a very good question, because oftentimes companies, especially larger companies, will change your benefits where they can save $1 or $2 on what they provide and not necessarily tell you as the employee where you still have Delta Dental, let's say, but maybe they opted for a Delta Dental plan that pays a little bit less to us and it's more out of your pocket, and they didn't necessarily make you aware of that.
Right. Yeah.
So
we've been lucky that, there's been a few times where our insurance is now covering more, which that hasn't happened a lot to us, but it did recently. So it was nice.
That is a great benefit, especially for you and your family in the law enforcement field. Law enforcement and education are really good providers of benefit.
We're lucky for that, because
absolutely.
With 2 growing boys, we need
it's never cheap.
Yeah. So what are the financial responsibilities that are like with the billing options?
So again, if you have dental insurance, know, especially beginning of the year, know what your annual deductible is, because that's going to be oftentimes taken out of your very first appointment. So if you're receptionist or administrator at your dental practice asks, we need your deductible, which is usually $50 or $100, then you can be prepared for that.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes when you have treatment done, you're going to want to say, may I have a treatment plan? That way you know what's going to be done, how much is your insurance coverage, and how much is your responsibility out of pocket before you even get there for that appointment. If you don't have,
No, go ahead.
If you don't have dental insurance, then check to see if your office offers care credit. Care credit is a great line of credit that is given usually anywhere between 12 and 18 months interest-free.
Oh, that's nice.
That you don't have to pay that interest on, as long as you don't default on that. So that's another good option. And then, like, for example, our office, we have something called a VIP membership plan where you pay a startup fee, and then it's a small monthly fee, and you get your cleanings and your x-rays and all of that in that membership club. And then for just a little bit more, or it's actually like a 15% off of any other treatment that's done. So there's many options, and you just have to ask those questions.
So now, are we asking questions of our insurance company on our benefits and then asking the dental office, or is that something that we can just ask our dental office and they'll provide that? Or how would we go about finding all that?
Usually you would need to know that information before you come in. And that's, for larger companies, it's more not necessarily asking the insurance company. It's asking the HR person of the company that you work for. Okay. And they usually have a full booklet of what your benefit is covering.
So then when you have that, you can have that discussion with your dental care office to make sure that you're both on the same page.
Exactly. And when we have somebody that comes in and says, here's my benefits for the year, we're like, you are our best friend. We love you.
So, and that's kind of like doing your homework from home before you go in and not understand anything.
Right. And that's not only going to benefit you as the patient, it's also going to make your visit with us not as apprehensive, because you know ahead of time what it is that's going on.
Okay. That's really good. Or sometimes when they talk to me and I have no clue what the medical terms are that you guys are using, and I'm like, I have no clue.
For those things, absolutely ask, what does that mean? And you know, we're all dental geeks, and we love to share that.
I love that. So we can be informed and not feel stupid.
We love that.
So, okay. So I hear a lot of times people talking about night guards.
Yes. And
I've never had a night guard. Of course, I hear you talking about it because, you know, we talk about everything.
Right.
But, you know, how do people know if they are a candidate for a night guard, if it's even something that would be beneficial for them? So what puts you in that category?
Many different things. So the biggest thing that people come up with when we're diagnosing a night guard is, I wake up and my jaw is just, it's so sore when I wake up in the morning, or I wake up with a headache all the time, things like that. Those are two really big indicators that you're clenching or grinding in your sleep. So we will often, or you might see wear and tear on the bottom of your anterior teeth, which are your lower front teeth.
Tricky words.
Yeah. And so when you're having your dental cleanings a couple times a year, your hygienist or your doctor that you see will be, you know, making mention, hey, I see some wear here. Are you clenching and grinding? Things like that. And then we go into that conversation of, and it's back to the insurance aspect of it. Most times, I would say 90% of the time, insurance companies do not cover a night guard. It's considered a non-covered benefit, but the money that you will save in the long run, saving your teeth by wearing one, it's totally worth it.
And at what age would you say, because I know when my younger son was young, I could literally hear him grinding his teeth from his bedroom.
A lot of children do, but they are not candidates until they're full dentition, which means all your permanent teeth are in your mouth.
Okay.
Because, no, I take that back. You could have it done. You're just going to have it done a lot because they're going to be losing teeth,
moving,
and they're moving.
Okay, right. So that makes sense. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So that would make sense. I literally would hear him grinding from his bedroom.
It's crazy.
Freak me out.
Yes. No, it's very common. Don't be alarmed.
Well, cool. So there we go. And everywhere on the TV, on, you know, where you shop online, even, you know, at like your local stores, you see water picks. So what is a water pick? One, why would we use it? what's it benefiting? And I know there's care that goes along with having a water pick. So can we examine all those things?
Absolutely. And Waterpik is a name brand company. So there are knockoffs if you want to try those, but Waterpik in and of itself, because I'm not advocating to go out and, purchase from these great big companies.
Mm-hmm.
If you are trying to save a dime or,
Right.
whatever, that's fine. But Waterpik is a phenomenal company, and they have different makes, models, all of that are some that you use in the shower, some that are from the sink, some that have the Waterpik function and a toothbrush function all in one. There's many, many different ones. But the biggest benefit is for those of you who don't floss on a regular basis, if you can bring into your routine a Waterpik, that can save you a lot of money in the long run. And honestly, for those that are in orthodontia braces, I highly, highly recommend it for those, or anybody that's experiencing periodontal disease, which is gum issues.
Okay.
If they're having swollen gums or food sticking in areas of your mouth or whatever, you can use the Waterpik, and it's highly beneficial.
So it's not taking the place of flossing, but it's a benefit to add to your dental care.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I would say if you don't floss, absolutely Waterpik. But if you're bad at flossing,
right,
then I would say definitely do the Waterpik. But if you could do both, that's even better.
That's even better. And I know, like, for my younger son, he has braces. And so Michelle recommended that. And so we did get it, and he is able to clean them a lot better. And my older son still chooses to floss. So that's okay.
It's great.
And then
it's very hard to floss, especially for teenagers and teenage boys to actually floss at all. And then much less with braces, it's even worse.
Right. And so when we had the Waterpik, you were explaining to me about how to clean it and what is the care on that. So
yes.
There's another entity. You're just not buying the Waterpik. You have to maintain it and take care of it. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yes.
Also.
So if you are having a lot of issues with swelling and things like that around your gum tissue, oftentimes you can put just a tiny drop of peroxide or even regular household bleach, but just a couple drops. Talk to your dental professional in your own office just to see what they say, because everybody's different. But oftentimes you can just do those, and that helps with the bacteria and all of that's in your mouth, because our mouths are the most bacterial laden places in our body. And the care for it afterwards is, I would say at least once a month, you're going to run just white vinegar, half water, and then run another 3 tanks of just water through it. At least, I would say, yes, at least once a month.
Okay. That's good. And I had never used one before, and it was really interesting to try it. It was kind of like a massage for your gums.
It is. It feels really good after.
Yeah, it was really kind of interesting on that whole thing. So I thought that was really fun. Now, is there anything that we have talked about or maybe didn't that has kind of, sparked your thought process of takeaways that would be great, one or even two, that would be great to share with?
Sure, absolutely. I think that, again, knowing your benefits, I will reiterate that every day. Know those benefits. And honestly, if you can have that conversation with your adult children who still fall under your benefits, because oftentimes we have, and especially in the new year, kids who've turned 21 or even 18, they're considered adults. Depends on how much we've babied them, I guess.
Right.
But that are coming in on their own and they don't know either. So sort of educating them after, what you've learned, educate your children, adult children that are coming into the office, so that they know
that's great,
what they're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
And then, goodness gracious, brush and floss. At least brush at least twice a day, floss at least once a day. But again, if you can't do the floss, definitely the Waterpik. And
one of my favorite little tricks my dentist told me is those little flossers. They have the brush on the.
Yes.
So even when you're out, so you were rushing in the morning and you were grab one of those, have them in your car, And as you're driving,
exactly. See, even though I've been in this industry for 18 years, I cannot get my husband to floss to save my life. So we bought him the little floss picks that you're talking about. And when he's driving it, he's at work or at a stop sign, that's when he does it. And I'll take it.
Yeah. Whatever you gotta
take
do.
it where I can get it.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I really like those. Those are really cool. I was like, one of those genius ideas again, I tell you. Well, thank you so much for being here.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
I loved having you, and you have so much wonderful information. I'm definitely going to go educate myself on my dental insurance so that I know what I'm talking about next time. So that was awesome. Next week, Troy joins me again as we continue our 3-part discussion on how to use run, hide, and fight in an active shooter event. We've broken down how to run and how to hide. Now we are ready to help you understand what we mean by fight. Thank you so much for listening to Passionate World Talk Radio. You've just been listening to the most important 15 minutes of your day with me, Shannon Zeman, and Michelle Taylor. You can listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, with knowledge, you have the power.
Thank you for listening to Passionate World Talk Radio. You can listen to this program all over again by going over to https://passionateworldtalkradio.com. You can also hear it on Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Alexa, AMFM247.com every Tuesday evening between 8 and 9 p.m. YouTube, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, and all the other podcast directories one can find on the internet.